Welcome back to Tandem Fandom's Hot Tag. I'm Mick.
I'm Courtney.
And we are tagging you into the hottest news and happenings in professional wrestling today.
That's right, it's October and it may be getting colder outside, but it's still hot in the world of wrestling. We have so much news.
So much news in this business that we love. As we speak, Bound for Glory for TNA approaches.
Yep.
What we have...
Thankfully, it is happening.
It is happening, that's right. Another one of those midnight hour type deals. They secured funding for Bound for Glory and for the tapings,
right,
post-Bound for Glory.
Tapings, which will get them through to January?
No, December. It takes all the way through December. So a mysterious third party has funded these. Nobody knows. I don't even think Billy Corgan knows. Things have been kept very, very close to the vest. Supposedly, before Bound for Glory begins the show, they are going to have a meeting with the talent to let them know kind of where they are headed. So, of course, this has to lead to us speculating. What the hell is going on?
Unidentified third party? Some sort of higher power?
It was me, Dixie! It was me all along!
Like, I'm expecting a hooded figure to come out at the end of Bound for Glory.
I would
just start...
just throwing around money. I do think it is in some way the WWE.
I really couldn't imagine anybody else doing anything because the last 3 times it's been out of Billy Corgan's pockets.
Yeah, and these tapings, and
Dixie
I believe
doesn't have any money. That's the problem.
Well, she does have money, but I think she's at the point now where she's not sinking any more of her money into it. But supposedly these tapings and the pay-per-views about $600,000. So for Billy Corgan to have done this several times, which is why he is now a partial owner. Because he's like, you got to give me something if I'm going to keep doing this. And I think he got to the point of, I am not going to fund your show unless you sell to me. I will fund my show, but I'm not going to keep doing this.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, it's incredibly fair. I do think this is going to be the last TNA Bound for Glory. Not saying the company will no longer exist, but TNA will no longer exist.
Yeah, maybe. Is it going to change hands? Are they going to repackage? Are they going to pack up and head to Mexico?
Well, this is my theory. And, I have no insider information. I don't know anything. I'm not calling up my buddy Paul and saying, hey, pal.
Hey, pal.
No, but here's kind of my theory. I think Billy will end up owning the wrestling portion of the company. Have the wrestler contracts, the rings, the equipment, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think the WWE will buy the TNA name and the TNA library.
Right.
Clean split. They get to have the careers of AJ and Joe and Aries and all those guys, Sting, Angle.
Yeah, and the rest of Ricks and Stings.
Yeah.
And
they get to throw that on the network. And
put it in the vault.
Yeah, have that on the vault. And then Billy Corgan gets to take what is a relative, fresh face roster in terms of, you could say EC3's like TNA, but... They can shed that stigma, he renames it, he moves forward, and does his thing. Yeah. Is it successful? Who knows? But that's kind of... He's already said that, by the way.
Yeah.
He has said if he buys it, it will not be TNA anymore. He will change the name because he wants to shed the stigma that surrounds
that's
TNA.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's smart because TNA still leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Well, even though I've been keeping up with the modern product, I still don't like to hear TNA just because of what I remember it being back in the 2000s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's an example. We spoke to another wrestling fan the other day. We ran into him in the mall, and we were talking about it with him. He doesn't keep up with the products, not watching it now, but he had such a negative view and just this, oh yeah, they're terrible, they're awful, which we've talked about on the show. They're actually pretty damn good. I mean, there is bad, of course, just like WWE has bad.
Yeah. Just
like Ring of Honor has bad.
But the quality is worlds away from what it was.
Definitely, but that just kind of shows it's the name. It has that negative connotation for people who aren't
I guess
watching.
That's why they did Impact. Like, why is that? Why they changed it from Total Nonstop Action? I mean, it's still TNA Impact.
If I remember correctly, that was more of a Hogan and Bischoff thing, but it was kind of supposed to be along those lines of like, it's a new product, but not really.
TNA was everything that was bad about the Attitude Era.
I think so.
I mean, it was called TNA.
Total Nonstop Action.
Yeah, because that's the first thing that pops into
Well,
mind.
you know, when you look at when it came up, they were trying to be different. And at that point, WWF was still kind of not like, you know, in the middle of the Attitude Era, but there were a lot of those elements. But, you know, Billy Corgan's talked a lot about kind of what he wants to do in terms of rebranding the product, and he used kind of a good analogy, which I liked. He said, you know, Walking Dead and Game of Thrones are two incredibly successful television shows. They're also incredibly different.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do. He wants to create an alternative product. However, The Walking Dead, incredibly successful television show. Z Nation on the Sci-Fi Network. A raging dumpster fire. Unfortunately, TNA is that dumpster fire.
I was gonna say, well, Sci-Fi Network original.
Yes, so
you know.
So that is the issue that exists.
What was that promotion that I think Vampiro wrestled for a little
Wrestling
bit?
Society X.
Yeah, do that again.
That's Lucha. That's what Lucha is, basically. It's Wrestling Society X.
It really is, without the fake explosions.
Ricky Banderas. That is Mil Muertes. Like, it is straight up, like, Son of Havoc, I believe, was on that. Matt Sydal, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. I might be wrong, but yeah, so...
yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
there's a lot of, like... I love it.
In your opinion, what can TNA do, or where can they go to find I guess, like a measure of success? What can they do to make them successful?
I don't know. I don't know, because... maybe stop... Maybe, I don't know. What does ROH do? I know they have, like, TV tapings. Where are they shown? Are they shown on the network?
Yeah, they're shown on Comet TV.
Okay, so another random...
Yeah, some weird name. But they're owned by a broadcasting company.
Maybe they should just sell to the Hardys.
You know.
And have Broken Matt be the manager, and it would be over.
It would be over. His broken brains would bleed into Impact Wrestling.
I think the just shut it down and rebuild from the ashes, rebrand, repackage.
Yeah, I think that is one of the first steps towards success. Something I think that they really, and this is something I've thought for a little while, they should really explore the idea of trying to maybe be more of an international brand. Yeah. In terms of, and I think they've done this a few times in the past with like stuff with India and the UK, but they have a really big following in the UK. Tap into really that. Go over there, do some tapings from there, really tap into that market. Maybe go to like Germany, do some showings there.
Yeah.
Try and go to Mexico, try and go to, try and see if you can tap into something a little different by going to different areas.
By working the territories.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I think that's the other thing too. They need to get into a position where you're not allowing your guys, or not you're preventing them, but the guys don't have to work smaller shows and get booked out to other indie events.
Yeah.
This is what Drew Galloway got hurt because of that. This has affected a big match they've built to for several weeks with him and Aaron Rex. He's hurt, so he's not in it anymore. So
I was wondering why there was somebody else.
That's why. Huh. Yeah, because Drew got hurt. He can't wrestle.
That sucks.
You want to get to a point where you don't have to rely on that. But it's kind of like a catch-22, because you want to be able to book enough shows that your guys can, wrestle exclusively for you, but that requires money. And I mean, even if you look at like classic WCW, one of the benefits for Hall and Nash when they went to WCW, WCW wasn't doing house shows anymore.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to do them anymore.
Right.
That's why Triple H left WCW, because they were getting rid of them. So yeah, we're strictly a television product, but he wanted to wrestle and get better and all that kind of. So it's kind of like one of those weird. You gotta have money to do house shows. You gotta have money to go around. So
yeah.
I like a lot of the things that Billy's doing. I think the Grand Championship's very interesting with the judges and the points where it's kind of MMA-ish. It's different, which I think is what's successful. I will say the biggest alternative is already being done, and that's Lucha Underground.
Yeah, the pure, like, all story, all the time, supernatural, backstage antics, you know, bad cops and dragons and undead wizards.
It's
well, not quite the Undertaker, but you know, Mil Muertes, the monster with Hanzo with the key and everything. You know, just awesome.
Yeah, so I think that is kind of like the biggest alternative, where it's not really a wrestling program, but it's a TV show that features wrestling. So that's kind of out. Ring of Honor kind of has that, like, we're more sport-based, you know.
The shaking of the hand, and there are no rules matches being fights without honor, and, you know.
Yeah, so I think they're just kind of in a weird spot where it's like, what can you do? Billy certainly seems to have ideas, so I will give that to him. What do you guys think, though? What, in your opinion, should or could TNA do to reach success? What do? We say reboot. Change the name, change the look, change the attitude of your programming. That's what we say, but what do you guys say? You know, in other TNA-related news, possibly TNA-related news, Alberto Del Rio has been spotted in Orlando.
Interesting. Muy interesante.
Could he make an appearance in the past?
Possibly, because they were canceling flights for guys.
This is true. Well, supposedly that wasn't true, but I've heard it was true, but I've heard it wasn't true. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out tonight, I guess.
He has in the past straight up refused to work for TNA.
Yeah.
But maybe that's changing. Maybe he works like a Cody
Maybe he's the mysterious third party.
I bought TNA. That would actually be great. That would be really great.
Right?
I still think it's Vince. And supposedly, it's not Vince. I think it's Vince. I think...
If it was anybody but Vince, why would they keep it... Why would they keep themselves anonymous?
Yeah, they would just be like, Aerolux Media did blah, 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 or this did...
Right.
You know, so I think it's Vince. Remains to be seen. What? Of course, on this show, every time we do, of course, get the Cody Rhodes update for his career. What is the update?
He's going to be on Bound for Glory.
Hey! It ties into the whole thing!
And so is his wife, Brandy.
Oh, is she going to be on tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
She should be.
Well then.
Don't question me. It makes me want to go fact check real quick.
Okay, go to the Tandem Fandom Twitter. We have fact checkers up right now.
Website. Go to my website.
That's topical.
I was gonna say sorry for our international viewers. Donald Trump jokes. Don't look it up.
We have no idea what we're talking about anyway, because we have no idea what's going on with politics. Doesn't matter. Anyway, Cody Rhodes debuting, Bound for Glory.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
That is exciting. Well, probably just going to be Cody. Cody going to one name like Cher or Madonna.
He should just totally be CGR. And just straight up rip off EC3. Like, just be that guy, you know? Like, that'd be amazing.
He's been going to Halloween Horror Nights, like he does annually with Brandy and Emma and Zack Ryder, and Dolph was there too. I'm trying to think of like actually wrestling stuff and not stuff that he's just been doing.
Not his life. Well, you know, it's still, he's going to be on Bound for Glory.
What was that card that just happened in North Carolina?
Oh,
with Broken Matt and
Big
everybody.
Time Wrestling.
Right. Big Time Wrestling had their whole weekend of shows with Rick and Sting and the Hardys and the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
And you know, he did a few, one against Trevor Lee, one tagging with the Rock and Roll Express.
Which is so crazy.
Like, it looked like it was a hell of a time. Our good friends John Moses and Rob Holt of photography goodness.
Photo geniuses. John.
We're there, and thankfully I got to live vicariously through their photos.
So thank you, John. Thank you, Robert, for your excellent work as always. And as we always say, go check out Robert Holt's Fisticuffs Photography and John Moses's
John Moses Photography.
There you have it. Check them out. Great
Facebook,
guys.
Instagram.
Great work. Great guys. Awesome. So in non-Bound for Glory news, because there was a lot of it, Sarah Lee of Tough Enough, one of the winners of Tough Enough, was recently released by the WWE.
Woo.
And is apparently pregnant with the not beautiful but blonde Blake. Yeah. I was like, ugh.
All right.
Really?
I'm sure he's got a great personality.
I bet he does. But she was let go, which, when you look at some of the people we've seen for NXT, she has worked the NXT house shows, like in Largo, Florida and stuff like that.
Yeah, they gotta do something.
Yeah. But, we've seen Mandy Rose has been on television, Daria has been on television, Patrick Clark, well, granted he did have some training, So we've seen some of the other people that were on that season of Tough Enough debut. Sarah Lee and Yeti Dude have not shown up yet, which $250,000 for a year contract is tough enough.
Is it worth it anymore?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any point.
I mean, we didn't even really keep up with it.
No.
This time. And I don't know, is the time of that kind of reality show. I mean, because, Strike While the Iron's Hot back in the day when it was, everybody was doing American Idol and stuff like that. So why not jump on it? And it was super popular. But what has really come of it aside from a pop of ratings while it's on?
I don't think it's worth it anymore. And I think when you look at, the Cruiserweight Classic, that shows this is where you should really focus your energies. Do something like this because please sign Cedric. That's a prime example. I'm sure they intended to sign Cedric from the beginning. I'm sure they did. He's too talented. He's too good. But that audience got behind Cedric, who lost his match.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you go. Because
with the independent wrestling scene being as big as it is right now, and with the invention of social media, and how everybody knows, Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay, and all these other independent wrestlers, they can advertise themselves, and we can get behind them before they even sign with anybody.
Yeah,
and there's so many to pull from now. Like, if you need a new superstar, you don't have to get 50,000 average Joe Schmuckatelli's videotapes. Or videotapes, the show in my age.
Yeah, right. Well, and I mean, that's the thing, too. Yes,
if you want to be a wrestler, if you would apply to Tough Enough, there are other outlets now. And you can become an independent wrestler and still make it to the WWE.
Well, and I think that's kind of an argument that you can make for it as well, of for the most part, a lot of people participating in Tough Enough are not wrestlers. They're not people training to be wrestlers. They're, hey, I was a football player, or hey, I was a, fitness model, or hey, I did the shot put for my college. They weren't independent wrestlers. There are some exceptions. There are some people that were training, but it's like you said, in this day and age, why not just go after the people that are actually trying to do this?
Exactly. There's schools everywhere. There are seminars constantly.
Yeah.
If you really want to do it, you can do it now. You don't have to wait for Tough Enough to come around.
Yeah, and not to mention, if you look at it as well, they kind of already do talent scouting and invitations to the Performance Center and things like that. So why the hell would you need to... that way you get who you want. And you don't got to worry about, fan voting and this and that and sinking these time and money and energy into training people that aren't going to work.
Get it.
I mean, Sarah Lee won Tough Enough, did not show up on NXT at all. So all that time and effort and money and energy that was put into, oh, yeah, we voted for her, we brought her in. She didn't even make it to TV.
Yeah.
And NXT, and I don't even mean hey, I showed up and lost on NXT
right,
TV.
A job to Asuka.
Yeah, that didn't even happen. And this has happened a couple times now. The guy that won the last one they did with Stone Cold and everything, Silent Rage. he didn't even make it to TV. He washed out. So it's just, I don't know. I say cut it, move to a format. CWC shows that.
Yeah,
I say do that.
Unless behind the scenes it is literally just that beneficial to have this circus show happen.
Yeah.
Because maybe it is. Maybe they make a lot of money from the network because people eat reality shows up still, you know.
It's tough to sell.
For the actual brand and the universe and the long-term investment, I mean, thankfully it's only a year contract.
Yeah.
But I don't see the benefit.
I agree. So,
aside from watching, watching not even amateur wrestlers, you know, people like me bouncing off the ropes and running out of breath after like two passes.
Yes.
So that's entertainment.
So recently on Raw, we've got the cruiserweights. There was a tag match and there was a singles match featuring the amazing, the incomparable TJP. However, the fans did not really seem to get behind these guys. There were, of course, the new boring chant, if you will. There were CM Punk chants that were happening during both cruiserweight matches. Man, that is so incredibly disappointing.
It was a bad crowd.
It really was.
The whole night. I remember that whole night they were just being jerks. Where were they? Were they in Philadelphia?
No, I don't think so. I think I want to say like Indianapolis or something. I don't even remember, but it was a kind of thing where you look at and you're like, that's not really a smart town. I mean, they weren't in like Chicago or Philly or something like that. But yeah, and I guess maybe you could chalk it up because that show started off kind of weird. You had the Roman and Rusev match that
it was like 30 minutes long
and had no finish.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. You had I don't know. So maybe
maybe it was just a bad card for them to be on.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed in that, you know, because these cruiserweights are going out there putting on a spectacle of athleticism that's, you know, unparalleled. I mean, because it is. It's amazing the sort of things that these guys can do.
Yeah.
We saw them tear the house down in the CWC, so why would this crowd just shit on them, basically? Which, by the way, TJP had the best attitude. He said, you know, booing, cheering, chanting, whatever. If it makes them happy, I don't care. And I was like...
They paid their money.
I was like, all right. But what do you think of this? I mean, it's...
I don't know. I mean, it happens from time to time. You get one sour taste in the crowd's mouth, and the rest of the card, it doesn't matter if they're throwing $100 bills out of the ring into the audience. They're still gonna shit.
Well, I guess it kind of goes back to the whole, like, you paid your money. That gives you the ability to voice your opinion. You can cheer, you can boo, you can do whatever you want. I think it's shitty because...
I think it's shitty to hijack. You can react however you want. Like, oh, he did a low blow while the ref wasn't looking.
Yeah.
Ooh, or, oh, controversial decision. This is bullshit. You know, reactions.
Be a part of the show.
Not just, you know, sit back and be like, these fucking guys, super dragon, you know.
Well, and you know, and that's what it's weird too, because you look at like PWG, you look at a lot of the indie shows that are out there, the cruiserweights fall into that ROH. So the cruiserweights are essentially the ROH of WWE. Notice I didn't say NXT. Of like Raw. That's your ROH style match with the handshakes, with the treated more sport-like. So it's just confusing to me. It's like, well, what do you guys want? Do you really know what you want, or are you just being assholes? Sam Roberts of Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast kind of voiced his opinions of it, which and typically I enjoy Sam's input and his insight. I completely disagreed with everything that he said about the cruiserweights, because he said they shouldn't be making a big deal out of these guys. They shouldn't be like, you know, with the purple ropes and the different lighting and the different they should send them out there like any other guy. And I'm like, well, number one, how long have you been watching wrestling? Because they've been doing like vignettes and build-ups for, what, a month and a half now, give or take? To build up these guys. That is literally the way they introduce almost every single wrestler in the history of wrestling. Because otherwise you don't know who the hell they are.
Right.
There's exceptions, obviously, where a guy just comes out, has a match, and they do different things. But vignettes, the ironic thing, too, he complains about, like, the build-up. Oh, they shouldn't treat him like they're special. They should treat him like any other guy. He then, in the next breath, says how much he loves the Kurt Hawkins vignettes. Now it's like the greatest thing in the world. Oh my God, it's so amazing. It's hilarious. It's great. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like...
Come on, Sam.
Well, why not send him out there just like every other, guy?
Yeah.
Oh, just let him go out. We know who Kurt Hawkins is. We don't need to send him out there. But...
I feel like if you just sent them out there, it would just... Especially with people who didn't watch the CWC, there's... few people out there who don't have the network, and they don't know who these guys are, and they just throw them out there. They can't hear the commentary. They can't hear, JBL being like, "Oh, CWC, blah blah blah." Yeah. You need the visual. You need these guys are important.
Well, that was his other criticism too. Of they don't have stories. These guys don't have stories. They don't have
story.
Exactly. They don't have stories. They don't have characters. I'm like, but they do. It struck me as he didn't watch the CWC. That's what it felt like to me, because I'm like, well, no, they do have stories. Brian Kendrick is the grizzled vet.
Yeah,
this is his chance. So he's willing to do anything and everything he can to win. And if that is a low blow, a headbutt, or whatever, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
TJP, the John Cena of the cruiserweights, if you will, overcoming the odds. He was homeless, he was down, but he's not out. He's dabbing, Yeah,
it is their story. The tournament was their story.
Yes, and a lot of those guys, we talked about it. If you go look at our CWC coverage, we talked about it a lot. Like guys like Kenneth Johnson, where no idea who this guy is, but they told you his story. Exactly. Cedric Alexander, they told you his story, So... I think what he meant to say was they need to have charisma to last. Because look at... here's my example of that. Neville, amazing athlete.
Awesome.
But he can only go out there and do amazing moves so many times before you're kind of like, well, I've seen that. Oh, I've seen him do that.
Right.
He needs to spice it up. He doesn't need a character in the sense of like, I'm Neville. I'm the British bad boy. Although that would probably be amazing.
I was thinking about that when he grew his goatee. I was like,
the gentleman rude boy.
Evil Neville.
Oh,
but yeah, he lacks on-camera personality.
Yes. So, I don't know. I think it's unfortunate that you treat them in that fashion.
That somebody would think that way about these beautiful young cinnamon buns who are coming up through.
What? It's especially in a world. I honestly think so much of the crowd just lives to do the "This is awesome" chant anymore.
Man.
And it's like Finn and Seth for the Universal title. That crowd was so focused on booing the title that they were ignoring the match.
Yep.
I feel like this is a similar thing. They were so focused on, look at us, we're cool, we hijacked the show. You're not Seattle, Daniel Bryan's not there, you didn't hijack shit. But, I don't know, it just bothered me, Yeah. Something else that bothered me, too, bothered you as well, I believe, the Clash of Champions.
Man.
What the hell happened? Backlash was so great!
Backlash was so great! I don't know, it just felt like a Raw. There was nothing special about it. Sheamus and Cesaro ended in a no contest or something. Well, of course, now they're in the tag picture, which
That's such a Vince move.
Which could be funny, but it was such a build-up, and this was the culmination, and that's how it ended. They've
really been loving these non-finishes lately, and I feel like it's being used way too much. It seems
really
like
is.
Every week there's kind of some non-finish, and not even for well, it's the world title, it protects both parties involved. No, it's literally almost, not every card, or every match, but Sheamus Cesaro, Rusev and Roman. It happens so much, and I'm like, guys, rack back on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's been happening a lot. I don't know. I think the match quality was great. Sheamus and Cesaro was excellent.
The women's match was good.
Yeah, women's match was fantastic. So in terms of that quality, it was good. But I don't know, the tag belt, the tag thing, I was so mad. And okay, look, like, this is a weird question. Like, this is kind of a weird thing. I love the New Day. You love the New Day. Everybody loves the New Day.
Obviously,
shouldn't we be happy that they keep winning, like, all the time? Like, shouldn't we be happy about that? Then why am I not? I will say this. Maybe I'm going to get burned for this, but I feel like they have gotten a little stale. The things that they used to do where they'd come out and they'd cut some fun, some really great promos and had that great mic time, where the hell has that been? They literally come out throwing bootios to people and that's it. They don't talk anymore. Not really.
No.
They aren't, showing their personality through a promo perspective.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like it's stagnated some. Like,
it's time for Rocky to lose.
Yeah, I agree. He's got too much money. He's living it up. He's having a good time. You gotta have Clubber Lang. Clubber Lang's got to come whoop his ass, and he's got to chase back after him.
It's time for the chase.
The eye of the tiger. Eye of the tiger stallion.
Eye of the unicorn.
Although I want to see them on the chase, or I would like to see. Okay, if you want to keep the titles, branch them out a little bit. Yeah. Let, like, Big E and Xavier defend the title while Kofi goes after, like, a U.S. belt. Or, like, Big E goes after. Or maybe Xavier gets involved in, like, the cruiserweights. While they still keep the belts, mix it up. Use them throughout the card. They're so popular. They're so great. Use it. Use it in more of, like, here's these three guys doing literally the same thing that you've seen for like 2-3 years.
Right.
And it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great. Use them smarter. Disperse them through the card.
Yeah. And I don't know if they're going for the 470-some
I think they are. I think at that point.
For the longest reigning. Because, I mean, now's the time for them to have that reign.
Yeah.
Because 400 days is a long time and you don't want to have to recreate what we're lamenting about.
Yes.
So maybe a couple more months, but I agree. Get them in individual pictures just to freshen it up a little bit.
Yeah.
If anything.
Just try something different. Get creative with it. Try something.
I was like, Mania? Is that when they're gonna drop them? But no.
Well, I think I read somewhere that like the second week of December they hit that record or something like that, so they could drop it at that Raw, like I can't.
Yeah, I can see that. They could drop it at like Rumble or Fastlane and then pick them back up at Mania or something.
So one of the biggest things on SmackDown, and this is something that we absolutely had to cover, Dolph Ziggler is putting his career on the line against Miz's title. Can we first acknowledge how incredible this story has been? Like, holy shit!
They work so well together because they are both just so tapped into like the passion of it all.
Just goes back to what we always say. They know who they are. It's such a key thing.
And I can't even think about it. Dolph's face. Where
there were tears.
He calls his...
He had tears in his eyes.
He calls his shoot name. Mike!
I know. I was like...
Oh, shit's going down.
I was like, this got real. This got so real. But
my career. Your title, my career. And I'm like...
Whew. It's so fantastic. Does he lose? Does it happen?
I don't know. He's lost so much. Is this the time? Is this the turnaround? Is this the build? Is this why he lost at his against Dean? Is this why he's lost all this time? Because he's going to win.
Is this the end of zombie Shakespeare? I do. I think this is an opportunity to do one of two things. Either we reboot Dolph Ziggler and we don't have Dolph Ziggler anymore, and a couple months go by and Nick Nemeth short hair singlet shows up and just wrecks people as this shoot badass wrestler. Reinvented himself, tapped into who he really is. Or couple months.
But then he won't be my beautiful rock and roll underdog.
Hold on, I got another one for you. So the next few months, Daniel Bryan and Miz continue their back and forth. Their, just the headbutting. So Daniel Bryan's gonna punish Miz. All right, Miz, you want to be a champion, a world champion? Let's see how good you really are. You were first in the Royal Rumble.
Oh.
A real champion, a real winner could make it all the way to the end. And at number 2, Dolph Ziggler's music hits. He comes down, throws Miz over, lasts the entire time. He goes to WrestleMania to win the championship. The boyhood dream has come true. Like, you essentially do the Shawn Michaels story from 1990.
Or that could
6?
even be with the other idea that you had where he loses the career match and Royal Rumble number 2, Nick Nemeth.
It could be interesting. There were rumors of founding some sort of a shoot-style stable with Shelton Benjamin, Dolph, and Swagger because they all have, impressive amateur backgrounds, impressive athletes,
right.
Because Swagger's pretty impressive for a big dude. Like, that guy moves.
Yeah.
But, so it's going to be interesting. What do you guys think? Do they repackage Dolph? Does he stay Dolph, just take a little time away, like show up on Raw? What do they do for Dolph Ziggler? Let us know in the comments below.
I think we've covered everything.
I think we hit it. Hey, as we always say here, if you guys enjoyed the video, give us that thumbs up to let us know you like it. And if you really like it, hit that subscribe button at the end of the video for more wrestling goodness.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up with whatever we're doing and what we're planning. Soon this month, we are going to be starting our Tandem Fandom Goes East series.
That's right. Stay tuned for that. The hope is to get it up next week. That is the hope.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we are full-time students, full-time workers, and we do this for the business that we love in the wee hours of the morning.
Yes. But that is my hope. Put a lot of hard work into it. Really, really proud with how it's coming so far.
Fascinating stuff.
Really hope you guys enjoy it. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun to do this. So stay tuned. Hopefully, fingers crossed, next week on that. As this is the month of October, we got some really cool things planned, really fun things planned for the channel. Keep your eyes peeled for some spooky content. We've got a lot of really cool ideas, a lot of fun things that we're going to be doing. Of course, we are in the midst of kind of our giveaway / contest type deal. We're trying to get to 200 viewers, baby. End of October, that's kind of the goal. So, share it, get it out there. We got some fun stuff we want to give away. We'll be going to WrestleCade in the month of November.
Yeah.
So, we'll get some cool stuff there. Hopefully, we do another giveaway. It would be really fun. That's all we got! As we say here on Tandem Fandom, if you're gonna be a friend,
tag a friend.